I think you bring up a good point, and not everybody is going to completely understand the deferred money aspect of the Shohei Ohtani deal. But let's talk about it in simple terms. Forget about luxury taxes and AAVs for a second. Money today is worth more than money in 10 years. That's a fairly simple concept for most.
Totally.
Well, inflation for one thing.
Right.
You can't buy the same thing in 10 years, presumably. Cars get more expensive, houses get more expensive. If I gave you $1 million in 1973, you're buying a really nice house. I mean, really nice house. If I gave you $1 million today, hey, you're getting kind of more of an average sort of home in San Diego.
You're getting a tent, let's be honest.
So if I give you $1 million in 15, 20 years, now you're pretty much getting a tent. That's how money gets less valuable over time. And then there's also the investment aspect of it. If I gave you $1 million today and you invested it, even fairly conservatively, you're going to grow that money over the next 10 years into something quite a bit more than $1 million. You're going to have $1.5 million, $2 million. You may double your money over the time, compounding interest. If you don't get that money for 10 years, you can't start investing it. It can't start making money on itself. So money today, for multiple reasons, is more valuable than money in the future, which is why Shohei Ohtani's $700 million deal, which reportedly is, they said, more than 50% of that is deferred. So that means more than $350 million of that money will be coming to him after the end of the contract in 10 years. It's not worth $700 million. This is Scott Boras making himself look very, very good.
No, it's not Boras. It's Nev.
This is Nez making himself. This is a very Scott Boras-esque tactic to make the number look as big as possible when the announcement is made.
It's an NFL contract.
Yeah.
How they do that in the NFL. And it's like, hey, this is a $400 million deal. It's worth actually $32 million.
Now, it's guaranteed.
He's guaranteed.
He'll see every dollar of that $700 million at some point. So that's the only difference. In the NFL, they'll announce a $300 million deal, but 120 is a guaranteed.
Guy'll get $40 million.
They may only get 120 of that. He'll get all the $700 million. It's just some of it, and we don't know how far into the future are the deferrals. That is part of that equation. Now, should the Dodgers be getting the advantage then of a lower AAV based on that deferral, which allows them to presumably spend more on other players in free agency while staying under or closer to the luxury tax in future years? That is the big issue here that baseball is going to have to address, because if the Dodgers are simply using accounting to give themselves an advantage over the rest of the league while also enjoying the talents of Shohei Ohtani for a decade, well, that's an issue for baseball, because the Dodgers already have a lot of advantages. Their TV deal is much more massive than other teams. Obviously, they have a huge stadium that's packed every night in a giant market, gives them a giant advantage over other teams already. Do you really want to keep giving the teams that already have built-in advantages more advantages by letting them, mess with their accounting in such a ways that they can circumvent the things that you've done to try to put everybody on a more equal playing field?
Yeah, I mean, it's smart. It's smart of the teams to do it. Edwin Diaz had a deal structured like this. I did not realize this until yesterday. Mookie Betts has some deferred money in his contract as well. Seems to be a fairly smart way to... Please don't misconstrue, Dodger fans, and I know there are many of you listening. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong or illegal, because they're not. They're finding ways to circumvent the yearly hit that they're going to take, and it allows them more flexibility. And Shohei apparently in his negotiations said, hey, man, yes, the $70 million a year is a lot of dough. I don't want to cripple the rest of the team, so I'll do 35 now, 35 later, and we'll do that every year. So I reached out, Ben, to a financial guru. A guru. He's a guru. A friend of a friend. So they're owned by Guggenheim. Yes? Is the Dodgers run by. And I got this back. A good deal for Guggenheim. They can put a much smaller amount in a locked-in interest rate swap and not worry about it being there in the future. Actual cost far less than $700. How much less depends on precise terms of when larger payouts start. How big and for how long? Over 30 years, very roughly 175. It's awesome of him and not dumb either. By the time he collects most, he won't be dealing with as much in U.S. taxes, and it'll be interesting to watch the states and IRS come back, try to tax him like they do active players, probably causing a lot of consternation at Major League Baseball as well. I wonder how they're going to treat this for salary cap purposes. Will they try to amortize it over the life of the contract?
Amortize.
Amortize. Yep. What did I say? Amortize? Amortize it over the life of the contract, even though that's not how it's paid. It's going to be very interesting.
You have a very smart friend, contact, whoever you talk to, very, very intelligently laid out there what's going on from a financial perspective.
What does amortize mean?
Amortize means spread out the cost of something.
Okay.
It's a layaway plan, essentially. You're amortizing it.
All right.
You're stretching it out into the future. By the way, Padres did a similar thing with the contracts for Xander Bogaerts and Yu Darvish. They didn't defer money necessarily, but they added years onto deals that they didn't really expect much from those players.
Sure.
You know, Bogaerts into his 40s, Yu Darvish well into his 40s. No one really believes they're going to be $25 to $30 million a year players at that point,
but
based on their
up
productivity. But what it did was it lowered the annual value of the contract and thus helped the Padres stay, under luxury tax numbers or closer to luxury tax numbers and avoid penalties that they'd have to pay in the present.
Plus $28 million in 10 years or something
is not going to be as much as
$28 million is right now.
Is today. And one thing the Ohtani deal has done is certainly made a contract like Fernando Tatis Jr.'s 14-year, $330 million deal or whatever it was look a heck of a lot better. Less than half as much as what they are paying Shohei Ohtani, and you're getting the entirety of Fernando's career for that kind of money. I mean, he looks like almost a steal at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And, we'll see how that contract plays out. Shohei's 31 years old. 10-year deal takes him... Isn't he
29?
I thought he was 31. Maybe Freeman's 31. Maybe he's 29. 39, so it takes him until he's 39 years old. And again, this year, our buddy Mark, who is a dedicated Tier 1, also a Dodger fan, we do not hold that against Mark. We love Mark very much. He said this morning, this is his quote. He said, I don't know how much better we are than last year. And I said, well, you've lengthened your lineup by one. And that's what you did, because this year he's just going to hit. Now, it's pretty damn good DH you can pencil in there against righties or lefties every single day. And that's assuming he comes back from the mystery surgery and is the same Shohei Ohtani, at least from the plate. And then, you got it. Then you're going to, I would imagine, be a little bit worried. Is he going to get back to where he was on the bump? How are they going to use him? Are you worried, Dodger fans, at all that the guy, calling the shots is the guy who's calling the shots? I have no doubt that the Dodgers marketing team is going to do a bang-up job with this. They've already they have already made so many inroads in Japan for decades now. Like Japan is owned now by the Dodgers.
Yeah, and I saw our friend Steve Sugimoto say, "Oh, I'm just going to see nothing but Dodgers jerseys over here in Japan." But I did see the argument that there's no team that will benefit less from Shohei Ohtani than the Dodgers, and the reason is, they already were the strongest brand of any team in Asia. How much stronger can you get? They already almost sell out their entire stadium every year. How many more tickets can you sell? And how much more can you really charge? People were joking, Dodger dogs are going to be $300.
Yeah, I saw that.
They might be able to push off some of the costs and increase some prices like everybody does, but they can't reasonably charge $40 for a hot dog. That's not going to happen. So there's only so many ways you can make up that money. And the Dodgers don't have a TV deal coming up. It's not like, oh, all right, we're TV contracts coming up in a year and we can all of a sudden triple that with the Ohtani factor. They don't. They're locked in with a great TV deal, but it's the same one they had last year. It'll be the same one next year and the year after that and the year after that. That's not really changing the economic equation for the Dodgers. This is more of a trying to win on the field move, which good for them. They're trying to win on the field. But to your point, lengthening the lineup, Shohei Ohtani, as great as he is, and I am not again, trying to argue against the move, but like any baseball player, he will get up 4 times a game. Yep. He will make an out 75%, 70 to 75% of the time when he's up there. He will have a big impact on the other 25 to 30% of the at-bats when, he hits the ball out of the yard and does what he does. He will have an impact undoubtedly. But like every player, he will go through slumps. He will have times. I mean, he went 0 for this entire series against the Padres when they played last year. He is not immune to the same forces that every baseball player can happen. And if it happens in the postseason, like it happened to Mookie and Freddie Freeman in the playoffs last year, and they go cold at the same time, the exact same thing could happen to the Dodgers next year in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, no question about it. I just, again, this is the guy they wanted. It's the guy they went out and got. You do have to tip your hat to Andrew Friedman. You have to tip your hat to all those guys for going out and getting that deal done in what was one of the wildest, free agent decisions we've ever seen. I thought he handled it the right way. I think that is the only way you handled it, and you saw the craziness around it. I do not believe the conspiracy theories that are floating around that, the Blue Jays were used as leverage and there were plants on planes. And I love a good conspiracy theory, but even I couldn't buy into that. Shohei never left California. He was sitting in his home and probably watching this all unfold with a laugh. And, probably knowing for a while now that unless the Dodgers completely bungled it, and I thought they might have, I thought Dave Roberts potentially could have bungled this thing. If they didn't bungle it, he was going to be a Dodger.
I like my conspiracy theory now best. Why have the Dodgers not announced it? Most people say they're just waiting for the medicals to go through. You're not allowed to announce anything until it's officially done with the medicals as a team. I like the idea, though, that the Dodgers never made any offer to Ohtani. He has simply announced it.
Wishful thinking.
And now waiting for the entire baseball world to say what a great move this is for the Dodgers. And now the Dodgers are going,
700.
What do we do? We didn't offer him that.
We actually never offered
Do we say it and risk angering him, or do we just
pay
not agree to him now because everyone thinks we're geniuses?
I'm going to do that.
I guess we should just do this.
For our next contract, I'm going to just put on Instagram. We're back 3 years. $1 million a year.
We were offering $550 million. Not $700. What is this? This is news to us.
I do wonder. Now, I will say this, and I don't know how much I believe it. I do wonder if the talking out of school from Dave Roberts obviously didn't cost them the player. Did it cost them some money? Because I heard it did.
I mean, 700 came out of nowhere.
I thought 6 was like in my mind. It was 6. It was 6. I'm like, that's a lot of dough, man. 30 and 30, pitcher hitter
leads into that conspiracy theory.
I do wonder if it did cost them. Now that's a big mistake. If you make an accounting mistake at Odyssey today and you cost the company $50,000, like if I said something on the air and a $50,000 fine, I don't know that I'm coming back tomorrow. Honestly, $50,000's a lot of money.
If you cost your company $100 million, yeah, I mean, well, we'll know when Dave Roberts gets fired in a couple of days. We'll know exactly what the answer to that question was.
It would be incredible. But listen, they got their guy.
Although I saw someone say he passed the test.
That was the test.
He had the courage to actually defy Shohei Ohtani and say it, and that's what Ohtani was looking for.
I can't listen to that. I cannot listen to that mess. But Ohtani is a Dodger. Still a lot of free agents out there. Now, the thing that to panic with if you're a Padre fan is if they go out and throw, because of this newfound flexibility that Shohei has given them, they go out and get Yamamoto, guys like that, that's when you're like, all right, we're dead. But for right now, he's just another really tough bat in that lineup that you have to get out.